think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
The courtroom is packed, the tension suffocating, and then bam, the cameras catch it. Whoopi Goldberg collapses. Not literally yet, but her spirit, her swagger, her entire courtroom persona, gone. She's hunched forward, blinking rapidly, one hand gripping the table, the other trembling near her face. The woman who once commanded The View like a queen on her throne now looks like she's struggling to breathe. Because this isn't daytime TV, this is war. And Karoline Leavitt, she just went nuclear. The $800 million lawsuit that Whoopi once mocked is now racing through the court system, fast-tracked by a judge who's clearly had enough of the games. And the result? Receipts are flying. Tears are falling. In Whoopi, she's falling apart, publicly, painfully, and with the entire country watching. Before we unpack this total meltdown, go ahead and smash that like button for justice, and subscribe if you believe in accountability, even for celebrities. Did you just subscribe? Awesome, because this is about to get messy. Let's rewind to the exact moment the firestorm was ignited.
These women are completely out of touch with reality, and you're right, ABC should wake up.
The stage was set, the cameras were rolling, and Karoline Leavitt, poised, youthful, and completely unfazed, stepped onto the set of The View like she belonged there, because she did. But instead of welcoming her with open arms, the co-hosts circled her like sharks sensing blood in the water. Joy Behar didn't waste a second. She opened with a sarcastic jab about Karoline's age and appearance, snickering as she questioned whether someone so young and fresh-faced could possibly have real political depth. The audience giggled. The panel smiled. Then Sunny Hostin jumped in with a passive-aggressive grin, tossing out a well-rehearsed one-liner about white privilege, a phrase she's used before, but this time, it landed differently. It felt like a direct, calculated strike. But Whoopi Goldberg, always the queen of the zinger, took it even further. She leaned in, locked eyes with Karoline, and delivered a sentence so sharp it sliced straight through the room. You didn't earn this. You're just a product of right-wing pity politics. The crowd, laughing. The hosts, practically giddy. Karoline, she didn't flinch. She didn't argue. She didn't perform for the cameras. She took mental notes. She measured every word. She memorized every smirk. And just days later? No Twitter rant, no podcast meltdown, no cryptic Instagram story. She dropped a legal bombshell, a defamation lawsuit so massive it didn't just shake The View, it rocked the entire media world. 800 million filed, served, public. And every word Whoopi had spoken was now Exhibit A. In the beginning, the ladies of The View treated the lawsuit like a joke. She's reaching, Whoopi laughed. It'll be tossed, Sunny scoffed. They chuckled, they brushed it off on air, they assumed it would disappear just like all the other scandals that fizzled in 24 hours. But this wasn't a viral blip, this was a legal avalanche. Because now, the lawsuit is speeding up. A court-approved acceleration order has moved everything into high gear. That means depositions are being scheduled ahead of time, witness lists are growing by the hour. Discovery is expanding to include off-air communications. Testimony prep is already underway. And Whoopi, she's not ready. The case is barreling forward faster than anyone at ABC ever imagined. And Karoline's legal team, they're not just playing hardball, they're coming for blood. They've demanded complete raw footage of the segment in question. Internal production notes, segment rehearsal records, all communications between producers and co-hosts during the planning phase. They've even subpoenaed Slack threads from the control room. And according to one source familiar with the case, what they're finding is bad, really bad. Because this isn't just about one line from Whoopi, it's about a pattern. A pattern of mockery, a pattern of targeting, a pattern of performative outrage that just got way too real. And now, there's no hitting pause, no cutting to commercial, no laugh track to cover it up. Just the truth, under oath. And Whoopi, she's front and center. The courtroom is tense. You can hear the rustle of legal papers, the soft hum of reporters' pens scribbling, and the quiet buzz of cameras adjusting their lenses. Then, boom, Karoline's legal team drops the first piece of evidence, a document stamped with time codes, internal notes, and direct instructions from producers at The View. It reads, "Have Joy needle her on age, then let Whoopi go hard. It'll trend." The gallery gasps. Another piece flashes on the screen. Keep the camera tight when Karoline reacts. That's our clip. The courtroom is stunned. This isn't commentary. This isn't spontaneous TV. This is deliberate orchestration. This is a coordinated takedown dressed up as daytime chatter. The judge leans forward, eyebrows lifted. Whoopi's face goes pale. Her lawyer gently places a hand on her arm, an instinctive gesture of comfort. She jerks away. Her eyes are wide, searching the room, almost like she's looking for an exit that no longer exists. And the bombshells keep coming. Slack messages between producers. Mention Trump, see if she takes the bait. Plan B, have Sonny lean in with race. If Karoline freezes, we got our moment. Emails between segment coordinators. Let Whoopi lead. She's got the credibility. The audience will eat it up. One internal script draft even has a line in bold font. Attack with intellect. Dismiss with humor. Flip the crowd. And what's worse, Karoline's team brings in forensic text to confirm the digital signatures. Every message, every timestamp, it's all real. The judge can barely contain his expression. At one point, he removes his glasses, sets them down, and looks directly at ABC's attorneys. Did your producers coach their hosts for this moment? Silence. Not one word from ABC's side. Not a single objection. No denial. Just wide-eyed attorneys flipping through binders like they're searching for an escape clause. And in the corner, Whoopi Goldberg, mouth tight, hands clutched together so hard her knuckles have turned white. She's not confused. She's not shocked. She's terrified. Because this isn't just a PR disaster. This is a courtroom obliteration. And Karoline still hasn't said a word. It's now past the second hour of proceedings. The courtroom lights feel hotter, the air denser. Whoopi Goldberg, once the queen of cool-headed clapbacks and sass-filled monologues, isn't speaking. She's crumbling. Her shoulders, once squared and proud, have slumped like a woman bearing invisible weights. Her hands, known for animated storytelling on national TV, now fidget relentlessly, twisting a tissue, smoothing the courtroom table, adjusting imaginary dust.
Respect everything everyone is saying to me, and I don't want to fake apologize. I'm very upset about that people are misunderstood what I was saying.
Her attorney leans in. She doesn't respond. She doesn't blink. And then, a tear. Just one. It rolls slowly down her cheek, glistening under the harsh fluorescent lights. She wipes it away quickly, hoping no one saw. Everyone did. Journalists glance at one another. One types Whoopi crying into their live blog. Another begins drafting a headline. Breaking, Goldberg breaks down in court. The judge calls for a 10-minute recess. Everyone rises. The attorneys file out. Reporters stand. Viewers watching from monitors around the courthouse lean forward. But Whoopi, she doesn't move. She doesn't look up. She sits frozen at the table. A bailiff quietly walks over to check on her. She whispers, "I didn't know they saved all of that." Her voice? Cracked, raw, defeated. Karoline Leavitt sits on the other side of the courtroom, composed, unmoved. Not smug, not gloating, just resolute. She watches Whoopi with the same calm expression she wore when this all started. Like she knew this moment would come, like she prepared for it. Whoopi's attorney returns with tissues, a bottle of water, and some whisper of encouragement. But Whoopi doesn't speak. She doesn't smile. She doesn't Whoopi. She breaks. And when court resumes, she's no longer the woman America tuned in to watch. She's a cautionary tale, one about what happens when public personas clash with private miscalculations. And Karoline? She finally leans to her lawyer and says 2 words. Let's continue. Because the show isn't over. It's only just begun. Behind the glossy smiles, the colorful mugs, and the scripted banter of daytime TV, ABC is in absolute meltdown. Forget calm press releases and controlled spin. What's unfolding behind closed doors is nothing short of a corporate crisis, one so severe insiders are calling it the most destabilizing moment in The View's modern history. Why? Because the courtroom didn't just put Whoopi Goldberg on trial. It dragged the entire machine behind her into the spotlight. Inside ABC's corporate offices, panic has gone nuclear. High-level executives are hopping on emergency Zoom calls multiple times a day, sometimes before sunrise, just to assess the fallout. Every conversation, redacted, hushed, NDA locked. One insider whispered, "We thought the lawsuit would fizzle. It's now a full-scale disaster." The legal team is working overtime, combing through episodes, emails, producer Slack logs, anything that could protect the network. ABC's Human Resources Department has reportedly been instructed to audit every segment involving political guests from the last 18 months. But that's just the start. Multiple sponsors have already begun pulling out, quietly. A luxury skincare brand? Gone. a longtime auto sponsor, requesting to pause ad placement until further notice. It's not a boycott, it's a strategic retreat because no brand wants to be caught between daytime drama and an $800 million defamation firestorm. And inside The View's production wing, the mood is apocalyptic. Staffers are dusting off old resumes. Associate producers are taking discreet coffee meetings with rival networks. Several interns reportedly asked supervisors whether their names might end up in the lawsuit records. But the biggest shift? ABC is reviewing Whoopi's contract line by line. Not just her performance clauses, not just her legal protections. They're analyzing her moral clauses, her public responsibility guidelines, her social conduct expectations. Translation? They're looking for the exit hatch. Sources say internal discussions about gracefully transitioning Whoopi out have already begun. Marketing teams have paused all promotional content featuring her face.
It's not good for anyone. And it's not good for poor folks. It is not good for y'all because you become slave fodder. It's not a good thing. It's not good for women because you are now being told and dictated to, and you can't say anything because they, throw you in a jail or whatever. People got very, very, very angry and still are angry. I mean, I'm getting, all of the mail from folks and the very real anger because people feel very different.
Even reruns of controversial episodes are being pulled from syndication queues. And here's the dagger. A formal exit strategy draft is already being prepped. It reportedly includes a public health-related hiatus, a scripted farewell announcement on air, soft transition to a new host panel, media talking points for damage control interviews. And while no one will say it publicly, insiders are blunt in private. Whoopi might be out, not next year, not next season, soon. Because as this legal inferno rages hotter by the day, ABC knows what's really at stake. It's not just one host, it's their entire brand. And if they don't act fast, it's not just Whoopi's name that could collapse, it's The View itself. While Whoopi Goldberg crumbles under the weight of her own words and ABC scrambles to patch a sinking ship, Karoline Leavitt is rising like a rocket. This isn't just a conservative firebrand holding her ground. This is the media moment of the decade.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help because...
Well, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay.
Now, as
I'm
for
sorry,
this
guys.
debate,
We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good. So good. In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you know who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more the same of everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you. Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then the moderators are probably...
Across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X, formerly Twitter, clips of Karoline's calm, composed courtroom demeanor are being clipped, stitched, and analyzed frame by frame. Hashtags like Geeks from Karoline stands tall, is media accountability, and like receipts not rants are trending globally. She didn't shout, she didn't storm out, she didn't even blink. What did she do? She showed up in court in a navy blazer, hair tied back, a thick binder of evidence in hand, then sat through hours of depositions with the poise of someone 3 times her age. No eye rolls, no emotional outbursts, just laser-focused resolve. Commentators across the political spectrum are in rare agreement. Whether you love her or hate her politics, this is how you handle media smear jobs.
Divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world. We have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and sex and all of this other BS, quite frankly.
I would like this young lady this is her first job. I would like her to do a little homework because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you, because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason, because Black people couldn't get into colleges, because women could not get into the colleges they wanted to go to. This is all women. Yeah. See, this is not Black, Asian women. This is all women. Women were not invited to this party. It was a man's world, and we busted our asses to make sure that this was...
Fox News anchors are calling her a future legal and political powerhouse. CNN analysts, yes, even CNN, have labeled her performance strategically flawless. Even a few notable center-left writers have admitted on Substack, Karoline did her homework, and it shows. But it's not just pundits taking notice. Behind the scenes, celebrities are quietly sending messages of support. A well-known A-list actress reportedly DM'd Karoline on Instagram with a simple line: "You're braver than most of Hollywood combined." And that's not an exaggeration, because in a culture where public figures are expected to either lash out or lay low when attacked, Karoline chose a third path. She brought receipts. Literal, time-stamped courtroom admissible receipts. No rants, no victimhood, just proof. The kind of proof that turns talking points into legal liability. The kind of proof that forces even die-hard skeptics to pay attention. And what's even more shocking, she hasn't said a single word to the press since court began. No interviews, no tweet storms, no cryptic Instagram posts. While the View's camp scrambles to shift blame, Karoline's strategy is as clear as her courtroom testimony. Let the truth talk, let the public watch. And guess what? The public is watching. View counts on her video clips have passed 50 million across platforms. Petitions demanding networks like ABC be held accountable for biased, misleading attacks have racked up over 2 million signatures. Think about that. A 20-something press secretary, once mocked as too young and too conservative to take seriously, is now being hailed as a case study in media pushback done right. Some are even calling her Gen Z's first courtroom icon. She's not just winning the lawsuit. She's reshaping the battlefield. Because for too long, legacy media outlets like The View have gotten away with targeting voices they don't agree with, under the shield of entertainment. But Karoline Leavitt didn't just fight back. She set a precedent. And in doing so, she may have done the one thing no one expected. She made truth trend. Alright, now that the dust is beginning to settle, it's your turn to speak up. Let's not pretend this is just another celebrity courtroom spat. This story isn't about gossip. It's not about petty drama. It's about what happens when powerful media voices finally get challenged and the script gets flipped. So we want to know, should Whoopi Goldberg be forced off The View? After years of lecturing the world on morality, justice, and public responsibility, is it fair that she now faces the consequences of her own televised words? Should ABC let her walk, or should they make her answer for what happened on their platform? Was Karoline Leavitt justified in taking this to court? Did she go too far, or did she finally do what so many others were afraid to? Stand up to the machine and say, enough is enough? Did she crack open a legacy institution that's been mocking people for decades with no repercussions? And most importantly, is this the beginning of the end for legacy media bullying? Have the days of hiding behind "it's just commentary" finally come to a close? Has Karoline Leavitt pulled back the curtain and shown America just how manipulated and performative shows like The View can really be? Because if this lawsuit sets a precedent, it won't just impact Whoopi or ABC. It could force every network, every host, and every producer to finally ask themselves, what's my accountability when I turn on that mic? So now go ahead, drop your take in the comments. I'm reading everything, every hot take, every defense, every mic drop moment. This isn't just a recap, it's a conversation, and your voice, it matters. And before you bounce, don't forget, smash that like button if you believe in holding everyone accountable, no matter how famous they are. Subscribe for more fearless commentary the mainstream won't dare to say out loud. Share this with someone who still thinks The View is just harmless daytime television fluff. Because what just happened wasn't fluff. It was a cultural reckoning, a line in the sand, and Karoline Leavitt is out here with a megaphone and a binder full of receipts. She's not just defending herself, she's leading a movement. Stay tuned, because if this courtroom collapse is any sign, the real firestorm hasn't even started.